former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. To me, this might be the lowest point of what has been a failed presidency, and that is a lack of moral clarity and abandoning our allies and literally, in many ways, giving, the thumbs up that you're not going to be punished if, in fact, you are involved in either proxy terror wars or direct terror wars. Thoughts?
Well, if you actually look at what Biden does, it's pretty straightforward. He abandons our allies in Afghanistan after being warned by the military that if you pull out, they're going to collapse. Didn't matter. He abandoned them after 22 years. He's told the Ukrainians, you're not allowed to fight Russia in Russia. They can bomb you. They can destroy your electric facilities. They can destroy your towns. You're not allowed to use any weapon to go inside Russia. And he said to the Israelis, I think that Rafah ought to become a terrorist sanctuary city, a moment of total insanity. We have allowed a Iranian warship to sit in the Red Sea, where it helped Houthis target their missiles. That ship could be sunk by the American Navy in 5 minutes, but it sits there. And now you've had 335 missiles and various other weapons fired at Israel. I did a piece at Gingrich 360 where I said, look, if you say don't, and 335 times they do, then what's your obligation to respond? Biden is beyond being a paper tiger. This is pathetic, but I think it's deliberate. I think he's a classic left-wing liberal. When in doubt, America and its allies are bad, and the enemy's actually good, and so you ought to understand the enemy no matter how bad the enemy is. And that's where we're at, and until we defeat him, that's where we're going to continue to be at, because that's who he really is.
So we've got to ask the question, and you have touched on it, and that is the why. Okay, I think Biden is watching polls. His base is eroding. That would be the traditional base of the Democratic Party. His numbers are crashing with African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans. The youth vote is going away. And he's got all these radicals in his party in Michigan and other places. And he sees these numbers. They would rather vote for uncommitted, nearly 20% of Democratic primary voters in Michigan. And he cares more about his blind political ambition than he does about standing up against terrorism. That's a U.S. president.
No, I don't.
That's the leader of the free world.
I actually don't agree with you. I don't think this is purely transactional and purely political. Way back in 1984, Ambassador Jeane Kirkpatrick made an amazing speech at the Republican National Convention, in which she described the Blame America First Democrats and said, whatever happens anywhere in the world, the reaction of the American left is blame America first. Well, guess what? That was Joe Biden. He was in the Senate already. He was part of that. Now he's surrounded by people who are crazy. And the fact is, I think we ought to go back and learn the lessons of the 1930s. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was faced with a Nazi effort inside the United States. They locked people up. I believe, frankly, we should say, if you are for the victory of Iran, if you want to scream death to America, we're deporting you. If you're an American, we're going to try you for treason. You can't get up and say death to America as an American citizen. And it's time that we were prepared to defend the survival of the United States. And I think that it's time we confronted head on a president who clearly, on every single front, from Ukraine, where he favors Russia, to what's happened in Afghanistan, where in the end he favored the Taliban, to what's happening in Gaza, where he favors Hamas, to what's happening with Iran, where he favors the Iranians. On every front, Joe Biden is on the side of the people who hate America.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.